Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So moving to the next one. So when reflecting on your first year of teaching, how has your instructional style improved, and what strategies would you advise yourself to use from now, looking at how you've grown to when you first started out?
I would say, if I really reflect, I am now very relaxed and I have fun with the students while teaching them. I think at first I was so concerned about getting every little thing that maybe sometimes I pushed too much. And I've learned that there's a balance. You have to have you have to make it somewhat interesting and fun for the kids so that they want to continue doing it. And I find I get more out of them now than when I planned more and did more, because now I make sure that they're having fun with it. So it's not about how many projects you get done or how many worksheets they do. It's more about them enjoying the learning environment and wanting to learn. And I find that they then ask more questions, and it just lends itself to having fun a little bit more. And I teach more to all the modalities. When I first started teaching, I would not sing if there was a parent in the classroom, ever. I just was uncomfortable. Now I don't care who's in the classroom or if I'm being videotaped or whatever. And I know I don't sing well, but the kids love it. And when I first started teaching, we didn't have as much technology. I mean, of course, we had technology, but now it was so much fun to do a brain break or to show a mystery science video on the Apple TV. And the kids get way into it, and I can stop it and we can talk about it. And I think that's it's definitely improved my instructional style. And I can go with what kids are talking about a little bit more. And just, I think before I was concerned with teaching so much that I didn't always take the time to really get to know each student. To know their likes, of course I knew what I saw in the class, but now I spend time on that relationship building, and I find that we had better discussions and better, and the kids are doing wonderfully. I mean, they just do. And I would say that I do more formative assessments now than I do. I used to do. I mean, we've always had to do summative assessments, but I find that I do more formative assessments now, and I'm kind of, seeing how they are, taking little checks all the time. And it's just something that once you start teaching, it takes a little bit to get really comfortable. And after a while, it doesn't matter who's in. I don't care who walks in the classroom, the principal, the superintendent, the parents, somebody, anytime they ask somebody wants to come and observe a classroom, I've got a student who wants to observe. I always say, okay, sure, I'll do it. They'll send out. It's amazing how many teachers don't do that. But I don't know. That's one way it's changed over the years.
Well, no, I think anyone who's in your class would be lucky to be a student of yours. I mean, just listening to hear you talk, not only now, but just throughout the whole interview, you have so much heart and so much love. So, I mean, it comes through. So it sounds like your classroom would be a lot of fun to be in. Work hard and then play hard. So it sounds like it would be good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, how do you effectively communicate with parents to prioritize student success?
Well, first of all, I communicate with parents a lot. I mean, we start the year with a meet and greet. And I start by just telling them all about myself and my family. And I let them know that, I've been a parent, that I teach on a Navy base. And so most of the parents have some affiliation to the Navy. And I let them know that I was a Navy wife and raised my family for 24 years, while my husband was in there. And I kind of understand the difficulties and hardships they go through. And and how much I understand what their kids might be going through. I communicate with parents to please let me know when parents are going away or when there's some big change in their lives, new baby, somebody moved in, moved out,
Uh-huh.
anything that's going on that's real big, so that I can kind of know, so I can help my students if I see, if I notice a little difference with them.
Right.
Um, I I try to let parents know exactly what's going to go on in the classroom. I developed this document called the ABCs of Kinder, and for every letter of the alphabet, it's something about kindergarten and how I do my classroom that I tell them. It's just a silly little thing, but
No, it's
parents
cool.
like it. I have a signed homework policy. I send it home, and I go and I have parents sign it, so they know exactly what I'm requiring for homework, and really, it's not a long thing. It's just that, kindergartners are just learning. They might need a parent to read them the directions,
Right,
so
right.
somebody needs to be there and do everything in pencil instead of pen or crayon. It's amazing how many families will just have their kids just colored crayons, or, they just don't think about the things that, as teachers, we think about that the kids need. Um, Back to school night, give them a list of expectations for kindergarten so they kind of know where we're going. I send a monthly newsletter. I give all the parents in the class a business card that I made with my name, my email, school phone, and I even give out my own cell number. Most teachers think I'm crazy, but I find that I tell parents when I do it, now, please try not to abuse it. Don't call after 9 p.m. But if you have a
Right.
question and I haven't answered it, or it's within 24 hours, or it's an emergency, please call me. If you're taking your child to the hospital because they broke their arm, I'd love to know about it, or
Right.
different things. So I try to make that connection with them. I do explain my classroom behavior clip chart. Both I send home a paper that explains it, and I also do it in writing. I have parents conferences, and now that I know how to Zoom, I do parent Zoom conferences, which is fun
Uh-huh.
because it doesn't have to be anything formal, or we can just do a 10-minute conference without anybody leaving their home. So I might do that in the evening now. Um,
Right.
and just try to help them to know what areas their kids need to work on. If I do sight word tests, and for the parents know that every 10 words, I teach 100 words, but every 10, I give them a super incentive. If they get all 10 right, they get a prize from me, and usually it's a small stuffed animal or something,
Uh-huh.
and the kids love it, and the parents love it, and then they try even harder.
Uh-huh.
And then I also, when it's every sight word test, I send home a list of everything that they missed. I don't know where I I probably left telling you this, but somewhere in probably would have fit in. I use a program called ESGI,
Okay.
and it's so worth the money. It's kindergarten testing is almost 100% one-on-one, and it's amazing for giving parents feedback. So I use this a lot. Any type of assessment that I give, I immediately print the results, and it will tell the parent every little thing they missed, whether it's a sound, whether it's a word, a letter, rhyming, and then it goes home to parents, so they know exactly what their child, needs to work on. And these are just little tidbits that I do all through the year. And it's when we do grades, it's not just once. I might test them on something 4 times during a trimester, just to see how their growth and how they're going. And one thing that I've started using just in the last 2 years is Class Dojo. Again, probably something I was very slow to go to
Uh-huh.
because I'm like, it's another technology thing, and now I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Parents are so much more active on Class Dojo than they are, or responsive than they are to emails or phone calls.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it's easier for me if they ask a question, I'll take a picture of something and say, this is what it should look like, or this is what we're doing.
Right.
And it's really quick, and it saves me time too. So that's been, a little thing that it has helped me to be more effective too.
Yeah.
And I missed saying, of course, I keep a student portfolio and show parents their growth
Right.
whenever every conference, so that they know, how they're doing.
Well, All of that is perfect. I mean, listening to you, like, as I'm learning, it sounds like two-way communication, having an open door is really helpful. And then it sounds like it makes the difference, especially when you're trying to build, trust, and that, parents can rely on you and they know that they can count on you. So I really like all those methods that you talked about. And then, those are trying to keep a list of all the things I need to remember for me one day. Okay, 2 more. We're almost there. So number 14, what form of assessments would you utilize to accommodate different learning abilities? So, for example, like providing a diagnostic test to a student with exam anxiety, may not produce an accurate depiction of their current knowledge. So, how would you go about that?
I do a lot of informal assessments in the classroom, just watching what they do on their everyday classwork. And usually that'll give me a really good snapshot of how they're doing. If a student has a different type of learning ability, depending on, like, I've had a student before who really doesn't have any oral skills. I have one student actually this year who really, really struggles to even say a word or two. But he's learned on the iPad to type it or to draw what he wants to show. So I do that. Other students do not do well on paper and pencil tests, so maybe I would give them an oral assessment. And a lot of times, again, because I do a lot of informal assessment, just throughout the week, I will usually think, okay, I know this kid knows this. I wonder why they're missing it. And I'll go back and try assessing them a different way and find that works. Some kids, writing is difficult for them, and they really struggle with that. Sometimes assessments on the iPads work great, and that's something that they like. Sometimes I play an audiobook for the students, and then later on let them tell me all about the audiobook instead of maybe writing about it. And then I know, okay, they're comprehending it.
Right.
And then sometimes typing rather than writing an answer. Sometimes they're just getting really excited. But I do have to say I prefer paper and pencil to everything, because kindergarten students, they need that. They haven't developed those fine motor skills yet, and they need that handwriting practice and that paper and pencil. And I do feel sometimes like the state and what some of our standards they push, or our district pushes the technology a little bit too much for kindergarten.
Right.
I feel like that it's important that they do some things you have to develop that fine motor control,
right,
so that they can do a good job.
Well, I really like the ways that you've suggested that you recognize, maybe something someone's weaker in, but then you find a solution to overcome that. Like your student who can only say, 1 or 2 words orally, but, he can type things out. So, he can express his knowledge and like his, where he's at. And then you can know where he's at, but then it's still a comprehensive, like, you can see it works. So I really like the way that you kind of circumnavigate. That's the word I'm looking for. You circumnavigate to make sure everyone is up to speed. I like that.
I forgot. I had another student one year that had some auditory issues, and that child could draw anything. So if I wanted to do it, one of the things that we have to do is children need to be able to tell us the beginning, middle, and end of a story that they've read repeatedly, and if they can't do it, I've had this child draw it before, and they would draw elaborate drawings of the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I'm like, you got it.
Yeah.
So another one that I did or two drawing.
That's amazing too. I love that. It's so creative too. I like that.